Hello, darlings, and welcome to a new episode of Living Out Loud with Loretta. Hello, darlings. Thank you for tuning in to Living Out Loud with Loretta, the podcast. I'm your host, Loretta Nkwacha. Now, like many of you, I'm a parent, I have friends, a life partner, I work in my home, I work outside my home, I have a social life. Well, I try to. It's hard to balance all of this and fit in some me time without feeling guilty. It's hard, but not impossible. Each week, listen to parents from all walks of life as they share their stories of the pursuit of equilibrium, that beautiful thing we call balance. And just for fun, I'll end each episode with something that helps me maintain some balance. A live performance of songs that bring me joy. If you love music too, then that's another thing we have in common. So make a request in the comments below and we can enjoy the song together on a future episode, all while listening and learning what my guests have figured out. A balancing act that works for them so that they can still live their life out loud. This week's episode is just me, and it is my 1 year mini Mummy Makeoversary. And I wanted to celebrate. I wanted to celebrate with you, my audience, my friends. Some of you I know, a lot of you I don't know. But I'm hoping that you have come to know a little bit about me just by listening to my episodes or by watching me on YouTube. I had to celebrate this 1 year anniversary of me getting a mini Mummy makeover. For two reasons. First one is for transparency, and it's not like anyone was asking, but just because I think it's important for us as women, humans, to really put it out there and be honest and open about any kind of artificial things that we do to our bodies, to our hair, to our lashes, to anything. I mean, I haven't had anything else done on my face, to be honest with you, but I certainly know how to put things together so that it looks, the way that I like it to look when I go out in public. I'm not saying that I don't like what I look like when I'm not in public, but, I like having that bit of showgirl. You know what I mean? That bit of showgirl when I'm out there. When I'm home, I want to just be me at home, almost the way I looked when I came out of my mummy's womb. Anyway, 2020 has really done a number on so many people, the majority of the world. Am I right? So I wanted to at least say Happy New Year to everyone with my very special drink here. It's in a champagne glass, but it's actually not champagne. I'm trying something new this year. I'm not letting go of champagne ever, but I'm trying a new concoction. It involves tequila. That's all I'm going to say for now. We'll see how it goes by the end of the night. So cheers and Happy New Year. Okay. It's tasty. It's fruity. All right, I'm going to let you know what it is at the end of my chat here. All right, so January 13th, I think it was, 2020, I had what is known as a kind of like a mini mummy makeover. I started my parenting journey quite late. I started at 39, which at that point is, I don't know what they call us. I think they don't call us old mothers, but they call us something like, you're in high risk, you're, ancient, whatever. I don't even care what the title is. Quite frankly, all I know is how I felt at the time and all the people I felt before. Okay, sorry. So I was very happy to start my parenting journey at the age of 39, because I knew that up until then, I had really lived a life that I wanted to live, where I was not answerable to anyone else. I had no dependents. And yes, I was in relationships, but they weren't my blood. You know what I mean? So, if it didn't fit into what I was doing at the time, then it was peace out, pretty much. So I'm really happy that I did my rounds around the world before meeting the man that really took my breath away, and just, it really was taking my breath away. And I was so surprised and so shocked, but not afraid of it. You know what I mean? Not afraid of that all-encompassing thing that just takes over your mind, your body, your soul, where you just know that you need to be with this person. And I was willing to wait however long it took for our relationship to develop. Thankfully, we were friends before. I say thankfully now. At the time, I was not feeling thankful. I was very annoyed that this man would not acquiesce. He would not give in to my feminine wiles. But it was all for the right reason, because we became best friends. And by the time we became lovers, it was as it should be, I think, probably for a lot of relationships, because embarking on something so encompassing, it's really good if the person really knows you as a human being before they know you as a sexual being. You know what I mean? Anywho, so my journey into parenthood started at 39. I was very happy for that. I carry big babies. That's what I found out. But I like that. I actually like when the babies come out and I don't want them to be as big as a house. Even though I did not actually push any of my babies out, they were both cut out of me. And that is typically known as a C-section. But that's because I was told that my cervix is very small and my baby's heads are very big. So maybe we can cut out that bit about the heads and just remember that my cervix is really small. Anyway, so 2 C-sections. And as a result of that, I kind of had, surgery. Any sort of major surgery is a big thing to kind of recover from. But, you have little humans in your hands, and you don't, you kind of forget about the fact that you had surgery, and you're dealing with being a new parent. As a result of my big pregnancies, I guess, I had hernias, umbilical hernias for both pregnancies. After the first baby, I had the hernia fixed. And I think we thought that we were just doing one child. I think that's kind of what we must have been thinking. I can't even really remember. This is where I say, and I'm pretty sure I've said it in previous interviews, that I think Mother Nature gives us amnesia, like truly. So I think we thought that it was just one child and that was it, or we just weren't thinking. So I went ahead and had the umbilical hernia fixed. Great. That's kind of major surgery. But it was great. I recovered really quickly and went on with my life. And I think only after then did I start kind of attempting to go to the gym on a bit of a regular basis, And then my story of miscarriages, which I only had one miscarriage. That's a story that I went into a little bit in episode 15 or 16, I think it is, with Toby Dragota, who I really say is the reason why we have my son, who is now 6 years old, because after my miscarriage, I really had I don't deal very well with death. So I really had no courage, strength, to handle trying to get pregnant again and potentially losing another baby. Now, after experiencing that miscarriage, and speaking about it openly on Facebook, I had a lot of mothers that, responded and basically expressed to me how common it is. A lot of them had gone through it themselves. My sister-in-law, whom at the time was a pediatric doctor, wrote me this long, amazing letter, basically, reassuring me that it wasn't my fault and that it was a very common issue with women, no matter what age. And really just reassured me and made me feel great. And you know what? Another person, and I'm sure she may not be aware of it. I think I tried to tell her at the time. Bobby Storm, who is a singer. I think she's out in Atlanta now. Incredible singer. She wrote me a long email, just really encouraging me and just, it was full of love. It really was. And I was so grateful for all of the love that I was receiving from everyone, all of the support. And it encouraged me to then talk about it openly with, mothers that I was meeting, at my daughter's dance class or gymnastics or whatever, because I don't know whether it's to do with the age or just the fact of second pregnancy or whatever, or, second baby. But, once you're pregnant again after the first one, your belly pops. I think that's what it's called. You show really quickly. So, it's like, oh, okay, I can't really pretend that I'm not pregnant when I clearly am. Or I can say I just ate a really big lunch. So a lot of people kind of knew that I was pregnant. So the miscarriage was a shock. And it was devastating. But the amount of encouragement and love that I got, and in particular, words that came out of Toby Dragotta's mouth. One day, we were on a play date. It was me, Toby, and another friend of ours, Angela Martin, at a place called Once Upon a Treetop, I think it was called. I was sitting on the floor, cross-legged or whatever, and that is the image I will always have in my head. Just her words were just, each word was boosting me up and filling me with courage, filling me with hope, filling me with faith. And on the drive home that day, I called my husband at work and said, baby, I'm ready to try again. He was shocked. He was like, wow, really? Okay, let's go. At that point, I think I already went back on the pill because I was out. I was like, nope, not doing this again. Not doing it. It's too painful. Really, within 2 weeks of me coming off of the pill, I didn't know it, but I was pregnant. And that is how we got our miracle baby, our now 6-year-old boy, who is a clone of his father. And I'm like, hello, I carried you in my body for 9 months. I got the umbilical hernia back. I got varicose veins from my toes up into my hoo-ha. I got blood clots. I got all manner of things. But thankfully, my life was not in danger. So I'm grateful for that. Because, I think a lot of us take for granted the whole experience of making a human being, the carrying process and all that business. I think a lot of us take it for granted. Me waiting until 39 or 42 when I started with my son, I think I never once sort of thought that, okay, maybe my body won't be able to handle it. Or even, there are 25-year-olds that are, that have difficulty with carrying a fetus to full term. So there's no way of knowing, there's no way of telling if and when the egg is going to cook. I think that's probably an incorrect term, so do not quote me on that. But anyway, out he came. And both of my children, by the way, came out not looking anything like me. In fact, they looked like old Chinese men, and I was very confused. And since they were both C-sections, I had to ask my husband several times, are you sure those babies came out of my belly? He reassured me that they did come out of my belly. Okay. So with the umbilical hernia back again and all the other stuff. So I went and got, like a couple of years later, I went and had the varicose veins sorted out. That was a little bit of a painful procedure, but necessary because they were huge. There's a word, ginormous, which is not really in the English dictionary, but I will use it. They were ginormous. So I went and had them fixed. And then it was, the excess skin and the umbilical hernia that was left on my midsection. And the rest of my body at this point was, quite firm, quite toned, because I had by this point started, a proper regimen of being at the gym, doing yoga, all that kind of stuff, having a trainer, I think, as well at this point. So it was kind of disheartening to look in the mirror and to know that I was working very hard on not just my nutrition, but working hard on, being in the gym and doing the classes and doing the one-on-one sessions with a trainer and doing yoga, and to not see much difference in my midsection. And yes, part of me definitely did want my pre-baby body back, but that's not necessarily realistic. But I at least wanted to have evidence in my midsection that I was working out, and it wasn't really showing. So my husband and I had long talks and decided to go and see a doctor and have a consultation regarding at least getting the hernia fixed again, which we did. And then we were referred to a plastic surgeon that then did let us know that, the two surgeries could be done at once. I could literally have a tummy tuck, cut away all the excess skin, and there was a lot. And for those of you that will watch this episode on YouTube, I will certainly be posting pictures of the before and after, and how a huge tattoo that I had on my midsection, how much of it was chopped off, which just basically indicates the amount of skin that was taken, that needed to go, that I wanted to go. So yeah, I went under the knife, under the care and supervision and capable hands of Dr. Matthew Schulman. He is in Manhattan. He's also on Instagram. I think it's The Real Dr. Schulman, I think is his Instagram handle. If I'm wrong, I will certainly rectify that in the show notes. But it was a necessary process for me to go through for myself. I was so happy that we did this. My husband was totally on board. They fixed my hernia again and chopped off all that excess skin. And it felt great, even after, my first, post-op appointment. It was fantastic to just kind of look down and see flatness and not see the bulge, or feel around and not feel the bulge, which was, my intestines poking out, which is a great image. I was very happy that I was able to do that. And all of the progressive, appointments and everything. And, you have to wear this, I think after maybe 2 weeks of the surgery. Anyone that's gone through this, you have to then wear like a full body suit type of thing. So it goes from your knees up to your whole torso, and you wear that 24 hours a day. I think for 6 weeks. It was a long one. I had two, my doctor, they gifted me one of the bodysuits, and then I had another one that was just one that I bought before even having the surgery, because being a singer, if you know anything about what I've been doing since moving to America, I've been doing a lot of singing live at live events in and around New York, around America. So to do that stuff, you have to wear these fabulous gowns and, fabulous dresses. And, the band that I play in is my husband's band, Michael Hart. And it's a high energy band. So I would wear not even Spanx, like proper things that would hold you in. I can't, it's not even, girdle is the old fashioned, and that's the old fashioned term. And I remember growing up watching my mother, squeezing herself into girdles. She had 5 children. There was no thought of surgery back then, certainly not for my mother, who was a single mother raising 5 children. There was no option to have surgery. I don't even know if it was anything that crossed her mind, so her body certainly showed that she had given birth the natural way to 5 big babies. So she would be constantly stuffing everything into a girdle. Every day she wore that thing, and that's kind of what I was doing for 6 weeks. It's uncomfortable to sleep in it and to have to sleep upright. My coccyx, I said coccyx, was, uncomfortable. But because I knew what the end result would be, Dr. Shulman, if you look at even just his Instagram feed, you'll see the amazing results that he has. So I trusted and knew that if I did everything I was supposed to do, I was going to get great results as well, so as well as making sure that I was resting, so my feet were up. And it had to happen when my son was already walking, and I didn't have to be picking him up or anything, so I wasn't going to undo all the good work that the doctor had done. So I was resting. I was taking painkillers, although I might say that before my surgery, I had gone into my local health food shop. I was going to say health food store, and I was introduced to something called aloe vera. So it's aloe vera liquid, really. And I would take, I guess, what amounts to about an ounce every morning. I have a morning tonic that I have, which is an ounce of aloe vera, an ounce of apple cider vinegar, about 2 ounces of ginger kombucha. Mix that up, and I would drink that with, whatever my vitamins of the day might be. And I think that actually helped me heal faster than potentially I would have healed if I weren't taking this morning tonic. And I take it now to this day, and it's been a year since my surgery, so I'm still taking it, and I believe in the healing properties of aloe vera. So I did all of that, and when I could finally take off this bodysuit after, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it was, so happy with the results. The incision point was just like so thin, so wonderful. There's a little sort of dollop, I would say, of where tubes went in on the side, like on my hip bone. And it's still like a little bit tender there. My tummy was flat, a little bit numb. I think it takes about a year, maybe a year and a half for that to subside. But then we were in quarantine. And in fact, my last post-op appointment had to be completely abandoned because we were all in quarantine. But I was keeping the office, Dr. Shulman's office, I was keeping them up to date with how I was healing and how things were going. So luckily, it was towards the end of my healing process. That's when we went into quarantine. Quarantine itself brought new issues. So my tummy, that issue was fixed. And the effect on my psyche, the positive effect on my psyche of looking in the mirror and knowing that I don't have to see that big bulge, in a tight dress that I'm wearing on stage, or, knowing that I can now just resume everything else that I was doing to try and keep my body tight and right. It was very, very, it was very positive. Let me put it that way. It was wonderful, and it still is wonderful. However, as a result of wonderful quarantine and COVID and the race relations and everything really blowing up in the summer of 2020, I don't know if I've ever eaten as much as I have in the whole of 2020. I don't think I've ever had such an emotional roller coaster as I have had in 2020. The emotions are all negative, all damaging, all painful. And it's tough to control that. The thing you can control is what you do to help yourself feel comforted. And generally, it involved food. I'm very lucky that my husband is an incredible chef. Even though he refuses to do it as a career, he loves cooking. He is all about the science of cooking and is phenomenal at it. And not only do I want to support his endeavors as a, home chef, but, it smells amazing. So I want to taste it all. But slowly, bit by bit, over 2020, the weight has crept on my body. I'm still grateful that I had the surgery in January 2020, because I think it would have made my ability to handle and deal with this weight gain harder if I had seen also, this lump poking out of my tummy, which would have then been way bigger, with the weight that I've gained. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm as big as a house, because everyone's body is, their own acceptance of their body is their acceptance. It's not about anyone else's. So I'm not looking at anyone else and saying, oh, what do you think of my body? What are you seeing when you look at my body? I never even weighed myself until 2 weeks ago. I haven't owned weighing scales or whatever it is you call them in America. I'm not really sure, but I've never owned a set of scales. I've never measured my body with a measuring tape or anything. I did start doing that 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago, when I after interviewing Miss Wendy Hyatt, who told me her incredible story. She, I think, is episode, yeah, I have no idea. I'll put it in the show notes. But her incredible story really, really inspired me. And, when she was talking about the company that she works with, which is Isogenics, it really resonated with me. And for the first time, I felt compelled to do something like proactively about what I was seeing and not enjoying about my body in a mirror. And trust me, I look at my body a lot and I parade my body a lot. I'm the girl that, prefers to be naked. You know what I mean? I certainly try and avoid that around my children, but if I can be in a bathing suit all day, I certainly would, or little shorts and a little tiny top. I am most comfortable that way. But to look at your body and to know then the clothes that you have, they don't fit anymore, or they don't fit the way they have been fitting for however long. I do also understand and recognize, and this is something that actually Michelle Obama pointed out on an episode of Oprah's Super Soul Sunday series. We as women, we are very hard on ourselves when it comes to our body image, and we expect our bodies to look the same way they did 20 years ago or 10 years ago. I know that's not realistic. For instance, I finally have boobs. I've wanted big boobs for years. But when I went and did my surgery, I was not going to pay extra money so that I could get big boobs. I was just not going to do it. There was no reason to touch them apart from just me saying, oh, I'd love to have big boobs. But that was not a reason to do it. you know, and it's money I did not need to waste. The other stuff I wanted to have done, and to me, it needed to be done. The boobs did not need to be done. But hey, be careful what you wish for, right? Mother Nature has given me these big boobies, and I love them. I just don't like all the other big that Mother Nature has given me since the beginning of 2020. So I'm now working with Wendy Hyatt and Jojo Bennington, who are representatives of Isagenix. It's been 2 weeks, but I already feel incredible. And in fact, as a woman of a particular age, as Wendy Williams would say, I have been experiencing perimenopausal symptoms for about 4 years. And one of the really sexy symptoms, is like sweating, hot flashes, like constantly throughout the day, throughout the night. Like I would wake up having them, or just, you know, they would interrupt my day constantly. And it's distressing. For any of you that have been there or are going through it, I feel you, sister. I feel you. It's not great. It does help to warn people about it so that you don't feel as embarrassed when you just break out into a sweat. But I tell you what's happened since working with Wendy and Jojo from Isagenix. I thought I was drinking a lot of water already, but I was not. I have maybe doubled my water intake. And since then, I almost want to touch wood, but since then, my hot flashes have disappeared. Literally, I have stopped taking the homeopathic medication that I was taking to help try and limit the hot flashes. My hot flashes have disappeared. This was due to water, like making my water intake. Yes, it is somewhere between 80 and 100 ounces a day, but that is easily done. And I would never have thought it, because the number sounds so huge, but I would never have thought that that would be possible. And also learning from, I think, not Wendy, but Dr. Pat Bologna, that we should not be drinking ice water. In the summer, I'm going to see if I can still stick to that. But right now, I use one of those Swell bottles, and I should really have it in here, but I guess it's in the kitchen. The Swell bottle, which keeps your water at a cool temperature, whatever the temperature is when the water was poured into the bottle, and it keeps it at that until you finish drinking it, however long that might be. So that Swell bottle I have is a 20-ounce bottle. My husband has one that's even bigger. So, and all of us in the family have Swell bottles now. So I basically, the more water you drink, the more you want, which this is the first time it's happening to me. So please excuse me if you are already an enormous water drinker and you know this secret, because we always hear, well, drink more water, you got to drink 8 glasses a day, this, that, whatever else. It's like, okay, but maybe some of the actual benefits of drinking a lot of water need to be pointed out maybe a bit more rigorously for us to understand. For me, it's very, very obvious that it has sorted out my hot flashes. It also cleans you out. Sorry to get a bit graphic, but it really does. So I'm going to say water. Yeah. And for those of you that don't like the flavor of water, I would say adding some berries to your water as opposed to those artificial, water sweeteners. I don't know, because of the sugars. But maybe this is something to speak to either Wendy Hyatt about, Wendy Hyatt Wellness, or Jojo Bennington at Isagenix. Find out if those squeezy things, those whatever, if they're full of sugar or not. I feel like they might be. If I'm going to consume a ton of sugar, I want it to be one in my homebrewed ginger tea, and I need to have some organic raw honey in that. I do a good teaspoonful, or I want it in my adult beverage, and that's it. I don't want it anywhere else, So so far, since working with Isogenics, I am counting calories. I've never counted calories before. And it is, I would say, time consuming, but there is an app, there is a way to do it online. MyFitnessPal, I think, is the one that a lot of people use, where you input the food and then it will calculate the calories for you. And then you can work out, as you're going through the day. Towards the end of the day, when it comes to dinner, you can say, okay, I have another 400, calories that I can take. I have another, such and such grams of sugar that I can take, or this many grams of protein. Okay, so let me choose what I want to eat. But it's very simple when you kind of really sort of break it down like that. And MyFitnessPal really does help us do that. And then with something like Isogenics, you have a whole community and mentors that are helping you along and really kind of helping you make the right decisions and supporting you and advising you. So I want to say cheers to Isogenics. Cheers to Dr. Shulman for work very well done. And cheers to us that are really taking our health and fitness into our own hands, whether it involves you going under the knife or being in a gym or counting your calories. It's you taking control of your health and your fitness and finding balance. My balance is this. I need to be able to enjoy a nice cold beverage in a tall champagne glass, you know what I mean? As well as my 100 ounces of water. That's what I need in my day. What do you need? Cheers to all of you. Oh, and can I just say cheers to my good friend Linda Lynn, who bought me this fabulous, no, she did not buy it. She made me this fabulous shirt. It says, Living Out Loud with Loretta. Cheers to us. Let's take control. Let's do what we can to take control of our mind, body, fitness. We need to. There's too much crap going on in this world. We need to have control somewhere, right? Cheers. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick out my chin and grin and say, oh, the sun will come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may, tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're always a day away. Tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're always a day away. Thank you again for tuning in to Living Out Loud with Loretta. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with a friend or several friends. Post a screenshot of this episode on your Instagram stories and tag me at Loretta Nakwacha. You can also watch this episode with a cold beverage on my YouTube channel. The link is posted below. Lastly, if you have the time, please leave a positive review on Apple Podcasts so that we can continue sharing stories, singing songs, and living our lives really out loud.